I had a query from a guy this week about how you go about automatically creating documents. And so I thought I would run through one of many ways that you can do it. This way happens to be free. So free is good, isn't it? So the goal here is we're going to try and create a template, and we will put in that template some placeholders that we want to be populated automatically. And then once we've created that template, we'll convert it into we'll populate it with some data, and then we'll convert the resulting file into a PDF and email it. And so you can see that if you attach that kind of scenario to something like a CRM, for example, you could automatically create proposals straight from the CRM. So that's what we're going to do. Let's launch into it. So starting with the Zap, we need to first think about a trigger. So for a trigger, I think we'll use a CRM. Let's keep it a real world example. This is a CRM that I work with a lot of clients. It's called HighLevel. If you're interested in the CRM itself, then give me a shout. What we're going to do is we're going to configure the opportunities. And we'll create a new pipeline. So obviously you'd have more stages in your sales thing, but there will be a point in your sales process where you want to go from having got all of the information together ready to do a proposal, and then you want to actually send the proposal. So we've got test pipeline. So if we now go to opportunities. Okay, so we've got our pipeline here. And so let's add an opportunity. Let's check maybe. And we'll call the opportunity Okay, so we've got our test proposal that is the opportunity that is here, and we want to be able to essentially track when it moves from one stage to another. So let's see if HighLevel gives us that trigger. So HighLevel is a white labelable CRM. So there's a lot of CRM people out there that are selling CRMs that they're pretending is theirs, but it's not actually. It's HighLevel under the covers. And so it provides this generic thing called lead connector, which is how you talk to the CRM. And so we've got a trigger event here, which is pipeline stage changed, which is exactly what we want. It's the only trigger that they provide, and that's exactly what we want to do. So the HighLevel account we haven't actually used before, so I'm going to actually show you how you can create an account. And so you click on So you can say allow Zapier access to your lead connector account. And then it's asking for the API key, and it's saying go to this particular screen and grab the API key. So if I go back to our HighLevel account, the API key is here, and so we can generate the key, and then we can copy the key. So let's now go back, paste that in. Now go back to that. I'm just going to, it's always a good idea once you've added somebody to say who it was. And if you don't do that, you'll just end up with lots of different accounts connected and you won't know which one is which, and you'll be in a mess. So always rename. Okay. Choose the pipeline. So here is the new one that we created, test pipeline. And the stage that we want to move it to, when it moves to, is the create and send proposal. So we can test the trigger, but I don't think there'll be any results because we haven't done it before. What's that one pulled in then? That's just a dummy one that it gives you when there aren't any records. So we don't want that. Let's actually go back to our CRM. And we're going to drag this from here to here, which will change its stage. And that will hopefully give us a new piece of data back in here. There it is. So you can see here, it's got lots of information about that opportunity. And you can customize the information that comes across. Obviously, all this standard stuff will come across anyway, but if you add other custom fields to the opportunity type, not the contact type, the opportunity type, then that data will come across as well. So you can think about all the different things that you might want in your proposal and make sure you create custom fields for those. Okay, we're going to continue with the selected record. So now that we've got this all set up, we now want to create the action that we want to create for our Zap. And the action is we want to create a new Google Doc based on a template. So I thought I would show you how to do that because there are some quirks that could get you tied up for quite a while. There are sites like this out on the web. This one's called thegoodocs.com. And it's got loads of templates. So you could find one of these that you like the look of, and you could choose it. Some of them are premium, some of them free. You can easily choose free ones instead of if you're definitely not going to pay for something, or you can just have a browse through and choose something that you really like, whether it's free or not. They're very cheap anyway. So they've got all sorts of different styles and types. So you don't need to pay a designer in order to design you a really nice looking template. You just pick one that's close to your brand anyway, and then go in and edit it and change the colors and change the logo. So we're going to keep simple. We're going to go with this first one here. Nice, bright, sort of modern kind of style. Probably completely useless for a template because it's got all these huge numbers all over it, but which you wouldn't really want. But you can get the idea from it. And so all we do is we download it, and what that will do is it will open up a Google template in Google Sheets like this. But it seems to be a bit random where it puts this, and actually it really matters for us where it puts it. So once you've got it, if you download a Microsoft Word document, it will convert this from a Google Sheet into a Microsoft Word document. And then you just take it and you upload it into Google Drive as a Word document. Once I've got my Word document, all I do is I just drag it and drop it to my Google Drive. So here it is. So the thing to note, I'm in my personal, well, it's actually a company Google account, but I'm not using the shared drives. I'm using my drive in that thing. And the reason is that there's a bug in the Zapier Google Doc integration, which means that it can't access shared drives. So at some point that will get fixed. And when it does, this advice will be irrelevant. Obviously, it'd be much more sensible to be putting this stuff in the shared drives where people have got access to it rather than my personal drive. But at the moment, it doesn't work unless you do this. And so what I recommend is that you have an admin account and you put all of your templates in there. And obviously, you can share access to that admin account as necessary. So what we do is we open this. And you can see here it's got a .docx extension, which is a Word document. But we don't want a Word document. We want a Google Drive. So we want to do save as Google Docs. So you can see the .docx extension has been removed, and we've now got a Google Doc. So I'm just going to get rid of these ones. There we go. So there we go. Here's our proposal template. And the key thing we'll need here is we'll need some placeholders that we expect to be substituted for the data that's coming in. So instead of having this lorem ipsum here, we will have something like the format that we want to use for this is, let's make this a bit bigger. Is essentially curly brackets. So 2 curly brackets, and then we need to give a name to our placeholder. We're going to call it client first name, and then we want client or, and then maybe we want underneath it the company. So you get the idea. You could obviously add in values. So you wouldn't put it on the home page, but I'll do it for the sake of simplicity for this proposal. Proposal amount price. So if you put the price into your proposal, then it can be pulled out, or you could have the products that they were going to buy, or you could have some custom text that you wanted the salesperson to produce. So all of those things, you'd create those in custom fields in the CRM, and then you just give them templates somewhere in the document to be extracted out. So now we've got that. That's our template. Obviously, you'd customize all of this to your details. If we go back to Zapier, we're now ready to choose Google Docs. And the action event that we want is we're going to create a document from a template. And it's already picked my Google Docs connection, but you would need to add that if you haven't already got it. And because we've got it in the top level of our, let me just make sure that it's got the latest. Yep, because we've got it in our top level of our Google Drive, it finds it. And so we're going to give it a new document name. So we're going to, and again, this could be customized. It could be, so it could be something like, we could try, we've obviously got to try and make it unique. We're probably not going to have more than one proposal per client per day. So it's realistic that that would be unique. So it could be proposal, and you want to make it a name that you're going to be happy sending to the client, because we're going to automate sending it to the client. So proposal, first name, last name, company name, so we would need a different date than this. So we probably want to actually add in a date formatting step before this so that we can put it in. So let's leave it as that for now, and then let's add a step before it. Now, I can never remember what the syntax is for the current date. We could have a guess. See if it works that out. And then you can choose a bunch of different formats that you want. So we would probably want something fairly UK standard. So something like that. Let's test it. 25th of the 10th, 2024. So that's perfect. That's worked. So now that we've got that step, we can then use the output from that in here. So the next thing we want to do is choose the place we want to store it. So I would suggest you would create a folder for where you want to create all of these proposals. For the sake of this, root is fine. You can create different sharing preferences. So typically you would want anyone with link can view. And now you can see it's pulled in those placeholders from the proposal that we created. So we want to now start mapping the fields. So client first name, last name. So you can see I'm using the search to quickly find the field that I want to pull in. I mean, you can do it manually. So if you go onto one of these, you can scroll through all of the fields, but sometimes there's loads of them. So it's worth getting familiar with using the search, because it's just a lot quicker. So proposal date, and then let's see if this one has come across. I don't know whether it will have come across. This is the kind of thing we just don't know with lead connector, whether it will share all of the information. Yeah, lead value. So 569. So you can see here, it's not giving us a currency symbol. So we probably want to edit our proposal to put a currency symbol in. Otherwise, it'll just be a number. So where's the lead value gone? There we go. Okay, so we filled out all of the fields. Let's continue. And let's test it. So it's given us a lot of complicated stuff. For me, with this kind of stuff, there is very little value unless you want to become some sort of genius at these kind of Zapier tools in actually understanding all this stuff that comes back. I'm sure it's useful at certain situations, but we're only interested in the stuff that we're interested in. So at this stage, we just know that it says it was sent to Google Seconds and we've got all this stuff back. So it looks like it's probably worked. So let's go to the, so that's basically worked. So we've got to now decide what we want to do next with it. So add a step. So let's send an email. So let's add Gmail. Okay, and we want to. So you can either create a draft email or you can create and send an email. Now, in a sales situation, sometimes it would be nice to maybe give a salesperson the opportunity to slightly customize the thing so it's sort of unique to each client. So I can see why you might want to create a draft email. But also, if you're just selling widgets, then maybe you don't want to give the permission to someone to actually, customize the email. You literally just want it to be an automated process where it just sends the email. So for now, we're going to do the draft version so we can see it working. But you can choose send email here and it will just send it. So we're going to do create a draft. And we'll choose one of my accounts. Okay. And so we're going to send it, and what you would do is you would choose the email of the client, so the person you want to send it to. And then obviously you can CC other people, so you might want to CC in the salesperson or something. And again, you can substitute in dynamic text. So if you want your subject to be dynamic, then you might pass in the value of a field. So we might choose company name. Here is your proposal for company name. I'm going to send it from whichever account we've chosen. You can choose whether you send an HTML email or a plain email. I mean, typically people expect these days to get an HTML email. The only thing you have to watch with that is that you do actually have to write a bit of HTML in here. So first, what I do with the HTML is firstly just compose the email. So dear client, and we can just populate dear Jake. So once we've got that, you can choose to add signatures if you've got them set up in your account. This one doesn't, so you could add your standard signature. This is plain text, so we need to put some HTML around it. And HTML is quite simple. What we need for here is quite simple. So each time we want a sort of a new line for a new paragraph, we put a less than p greater than tag in front of it, and we do exactly the same at the end of that line with the slash in front of the p. So we just do it again, and so there are some little tips that you can do if you're doing lots of formatting, which is you can select that, which basically has the end of the last one and the beginning of the next one, copy it, and then when you get to the next new line, you can just select the new line and paste in, and so you can see it becomes a lot easier. When you have a completely blank line like this, so we want a blank line there before the regards, you need to put in something, otherwise the HTML will just make it disappear. And the thing you put in is and NBSP semicolon. And what that stands for is non-breaking space. So it's a space that's not allowed to be removed. And then we add a final. And that is our email. So we're now going to test the step. So that seems happy. So if we go to, so we've got a draft email here. That looks all right. Looks nicely formatted. It's all come out as we expected. So the only thing that is missing, I'm going to delete this draft. The only thing that is missing is we need to actually get the file attached. So attachments. And what we're after here is the output from this stage where we created the document. And so Google provides you with this thing called an export link, and there's a number of them, but we're after the PDF and it's right here. So let's retest it. So here you can see that we've got an attachment. So if we click on it, just to make sure that it has done what we expect, it's downloaded it as a PDF. So I'm just going to show you here. So you can see it's created a PDF called Proposal, Jake Liddell, Automatic Business, and then the date. So we have a look at this, you can see that the document has been populated with all of the information that we pulled out of the CRM. So that essentially is the Zap. So to recap, we've got a trigger, which is that the stage changes in the CRM. We grab today's date. We then create the document from the template that you've created, that you've stored in My Documents in the root folder. And then once you've created the document, you attach the PDF version of it to an email and you create it as a draft. So if we now publish this, now while we're at it, it is quite handy when you're testing to add in a step, maybe after this one, where it just sends you a Slack message. So you can connect your Slack account and send a message to a channel, and then that will just give you an audible notification when it's actually finished doing this task, and so you know that it's complete. Without that, you're sort of sat waiting and wondering whether it's actually working or not. That's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.